We gotta look back at this. How does he maintain possession?
Jenkins, and that definitely was a little helmet-to-helmet on that hit.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
NFL Week 8 is here, guys. I'll be breaking down 3 games like usual, one being the Monday Nighter like always, which is this week, Lions versus Raiders. Lions in a bounce-back spot there. Also look at Bengals versus 49ers, juicy matchup there. And we're also going to dig into Houston at Carolina, right? Let's take a look at the 2 rookie QBs coming out of the draft, top 2 draft picks, at least for QBs. Let's compare them after 7 weeks. First tough week for me against the books. We're going to have multiple throughout the year. It's just how you bounce back always, right? You're going to have down weeks each year. There's going to be multiple down weeks due to some upsets that you can't really control. I would go back and look at the bets that I made, and I wouldn't really change anything, right? It's just we got caught by the Bills' loss in Patriots. Patriots came back somehow with some random 40-yard run from Stevenson, bad tackling, some penalties. Pat score late, ruined the Bills. Teaser 49ers upset also caught me there as well. We had a tough loss in the totals market on the Ravens and Lions. No one saw Ravens scoring that many points. I expected Lions to struggle on offense. We did like Ravens in that game to get it done, which I did have for a full unit. Only winner last week was a money line 2-teamer, Ravens and Seahawks. Money line parlay at plus money. And Survivor continue to stay alive in the circuit contest. Seattle last week. So about only 1,000 entries left out of 9,000. So we're still alive. It's going to get even tougher now moving forward. Yeah, the Ravens, I did have Ravens on the money line, but we had an under. I think it was 43 or 42. And they kicked a field goal late to push it over. They kicked it with like 5 minutes left because Ravens were driving. They're not going to punt at the 40-yard line or 30-yard line. Tucker hits a field goal and it goes over. That was a crazy game, right? Ravens are showing now that they are one of the best teams in the NFL, and it's taking a little time on offense. Their defense is always good, guys, right? They're averaging the least points allowed per game, right, at 13.8 to be exact. All defensive categories are around top 5. And it's been like that all year, right? They haven't had a bad game really on defense all year, to be honest, guys. It's their offense that wasn't clicking 100%. You got to understand that their offense, it's a new coordinator over there. It takes time to adapt to the system. And if anything, if it looks at anything like that moving forward in that Lions game, watch out NFL because they had the defense, right? Sure, you can score 30, 40 points but not have a defense like some teams out there. Ravens have a top 5 defense, if not the best defense in the NFL for the full year. So far, it's top defense in the NFL. But I do think it's the best defense on paper, bearing any injuries. I do think they're very deep at multiple positions. Limiting the regression is always key. When you start hot 5 weeks in a row, profitable, winning, great records, hitting, we were like at 72% after like 4 weeks or something. The regression is gonna come. It's how you bounce back, right? You're gonna have down weeks. You always have to bounce back, and that's what we're gonna do this week. NFL update here: over 10 units of profit on the year, over 70 the last 3 years combined. Over 70 units the last 3 years. 62% all bets on the year. Free play underdogs 10-3 on the year. Couple down weeks the past 2 weeks in the free play underdog market. What do we have last week? Yeah, we had Miami. Close one. It was 17-17 in the second half. I thought they could have pulled away. However, Hurts played well. Their defense played really well. Eagles, you got to give them credit there. I did think there was some value due to the Eagles not playing their best football. But they continue to find ways to win. No UFC this week. You probably did not see a video because there's no UFC card. So we will do an update. UFC update. It is off this week. It will be back next week. Big UFC pay-per-view card for myself and clients. We were just all over Chimaev and Makhachev. We had a 2-fight parlay with both of them. Both of those guys hit fairly easily. We also had a big, nice ticket on Chimaev, plus 280 by decision. Books were way off there. I had my own number that as maybe plus 150. Books were way off. Usman's not a tough guy to finish, guys. Sure, we saw a random head kick finish from Edwards, but that was a 5th round head kick, right? Tons of value at plus 280 there. That was a big cash for me. We also hit both parlays on the night. We're 70% in 2-fight parlays on the year, guys. 69, 70% rounded up to 70%. 2-fight parlays on the year. Usually I'm getting 2-fight parlays at plus money or low minus. Over 71 units long term in the prop market. 66% on the year, guys. Average line plus money. That's key there. PGA update off this week as well. A little lower volume this week. This week is just NFL sprinkled in with some NHL as well. PGA update, guys. It seems like another weekend, just another outright winner these days, right? 6 of the last 9 events have been outright winners. This week we were on Morikawa in Japan. He gets it done plus 1,200, along with the profitable prop market as well. We're 15 outrights on the year, highlighted by Agrillo plus 8,000, Harman plus 11,000. We're over now 30,000 in ticket value in the outright market alone, guys. Over 90 units in the prop market long term, 9 out of 10 profitable majors. The books are getting destroyed in the PGA market. Again, all sports at the end of the year will be profitable for me, no matter what. How much, we don't know. You can never predict how much, right? PGA, definitely my best year I've had in both markets. UFC is just always very consistent each year, always profitable, always in the range from 65 to 70%, similar with the NFL. NHL update, just started handicapping the NFL this week. The NHL this week, 3-3 start. We did have an 0-2 start to the season, but we're back on track now, 3-1 this week. We just hit a nice full unit winner on the Islanders, 65% the last 2 years in the NHL. NBA research has begun. Just reviewing the markets, haven't bet yet. It just started the past couple of days. Just reviewing teams and see how they play. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping. Become a client today. Receive my personal plays that I bet. Get added to my client email list, which is worldwide. System Capping on all social media. Give me a follow over there for free picks, sports betting news, and more. Let's get into some key news, and we're going to talk trade deadline, guys. We will talk the trade deadline since it's October 31st. I think it's Tuesday coming up. Halloween. 2 teams looking to possibly blow up their team before Tuesday deadline. You probably heard it around the league. It's the Titans and Broncos. Titans and Broncos, I expect to do something, right? They both already have done something, right? Titans already moved their starting safety Byard to the Eagles. A nice get for the Eagles, right? This guy's a veteran guy, Pro Bowler. The Eagles needed a safety, so I do think that's a great move for the Eagles, as they should be back in the NFC Championship this year. Frank Clark left Denver and joined Seattle. Important get there for Seattle, veteran guy who can rush the passer. Nice addition for Seattle. I do think Seattle's going to make some noise. Definitely get into the playoffs, most likely a wild card. Maybe win a game there in the playoffs if they can stay healthy. I expect both teams to unload another guy or two before Tuesday. Guys I could see going, Denver, Jerry Jeudy. I can definitely see being moved there. Maybe Simmons as well. I do think a few guys should get traded on Denver, right? Why not? Get some draft picks while you can, guys. This team is not making the playoffs. They're not going to get any better. Jerry Jeudy is a clear example of a guy that needs a change of scenery, right? Good player, but he needs a change of scenery. He's not working in the system there. A lot of negativity around him in Denver. Get rid of Jerry Jeudy and trade him. Titans should trade Derrick Henry to a contender as well. Why is he there if they're blowing up the team, right? Trade him. Get us a day 2 draft pick. I don't think they'll get a second round draft pick. That's kind of high. I would say they can get a 3rd or 4th, plus maybe a guy, or a 3rd or 4th and like a 7th or something, right? Look for Derrick Henry to go to a Super Bowl contender, right? Of course, he fits the Ravens. I don't know if they have enough money. The key issue that I think teams are having is they got to eat salary of $6.5–7.5 million on Derrick Henry. So that's going to be an issue for some teams. I can see him going to Buffalo. I can see him going to Baltimore. I can see him going to maybe even Miami. Interesting to see where he goes. I don't know where he's going to go, but I think those three teams are a possibility. Let's hear from my friend Kristen before we get into this card and game breakdowns.
For you sports bettors out there, let's be honest, you probably need a little bit of help beating those books. System capping is a proven long-term winner against the sports betting market in multiple sports. He's built a worldwide clientele due to his high winning percentage over the years. Be sure to click the link on the bio down here to check out his profile, and you can also find out his resume, client comments, podcasts, and subscription opportunities. I'm going to be following him along too, so let's win some money together this season.
Shop around. Shop around, and shop around. Have multiple sports books to get the best number out there. I stress that time and time again. Do it if you can. Let's get right into it. Houston at Carolina. Carolina +3, total 43. There are some 3.5s out there. Shop around, which is a key number in this game, in my opinion. You know, the battle of two top QBs coming out of the draft this year, right? One looking a lot better than the other. We'll discuss that here. After watching both guys so far, CJ Stroud has been the much better guy, in my opinion, with less weapons as well, at least without that true number one wide receiver. Let's compare the two guys after week 7. Both teams coming off a bye. Keep that in mind. Stroud, 10th in the NFL in passing yards at 1,660. 59.6 completion percentage. Not great. 9 TDs. Very impressive. Only 1 interception is very impressive. That's top of the league, and he's a rookie. QB rating, not great. 57.1% on the year. Not terrible, especially for a rookie, but not great. Lead leaguers are 70 range, 71, 72 range. Let's look at Young. 30th in the NFL in passing yards, 967. 63.2% completion percentage is fairly solid. Very good. 6 TDs, not terrible, not great. 4 interceptions, you kind of expect that from a rookie. QB rating, this is bad. 32.1. That is terrible. You know, breaking it down for you guys, you can see how much better Young has been. I would say, you know, besides completion percentage, Young obviously has been a lot better so far, so it looks like he was the right pick. You know, I do think Houston does have the better O-line. However, that does help them a little bit. I do think Carolina runs the ball a little more. However, you know, the O-line isn't great there. Their weapons besides Thielen isn't great. Both teams coming off a bye here, which will be interesting to see. No clear advantage for anyone. Obviously, Carolina is playing at home. Let's take a look at a couple of we talked to offense. Look at their defenses. You know, Carolina, this defense is terrible. You know, allowing a league-leading 31 points. It's due to a lot of banged-up guys on the defense. You know, 31 points per game they're allowing, which is the last in the NFL. Houston actually has a very solid D, top 10 in the category at 18.8 per game, which is 8th in the NFL. You know, I do think this Houston team is the better team heading into Carolina. You know, they have done the better rebuild, in my opinion, obviously getting all those draft picks. However, one thing here has me worried if you are backing Houston is the 0-6 record off a bye at home. Very hungry for a win. You know, every team is hungry for a win. This team should be extra hungry for a win. Even though, you know, they want that high draft pick, they're not going to go 0-18, 0-17, guys. We know that, right? They're going to win anywhere from 2 to 3 games, in my opinion. And this is a spot they could win this game. If you can get plus 3.5, I definitely would back Carolina there. I do think this is going to be a 1 to 3 point game. And I think Carolina could pull it out. Yes, I have Houston as the better team, but the better team doesn't always win in the NFL. We know that. We just talked about it many times. Pats beating Bills, 49ers losing back-to-back games on the road. Those things are just very difficult to predict, right? And that's why you can't win every week because of that, right? You know, gun in my head, who's going to win this game? It's very close. It's tough to call. I would, if you can get Carolina like plus 140, shop around for a money line. I think there's some value there at home. I do think, Young's going to be a little extra motivated to show that he's up there with C.J. Stroud, and he wasn't the wrong decision to take first overall. But I do think that Carolina shows up in this game and somehow make it close, maybe steal a win as well. But plus 3.5, if you can get that, I would pull the trigger on that. Total 43. No comment. No comment on that. It's a tough one to call there. Bengals versus 49ers. 49ers minus 4. It's moving, guys. A lot of injury concerns here, so watch the injury report here. Total 43.5. The news: Brock Purdy not playing. Is he playing? Apparently, you got to watch the Friday report. So watch the Friday report tonight. See if he plays. He could go. If not, you're going to see Darnold, right? I do think if you got Bengals earlier in the week at plus 5.5, you're sitting nicely. Now it's moving. 4, 3.5, 4.5. I would wait if you want to bet the Bengals. I don't think it's going to go lower than this. Even let's say Purdy does come back, it probably moves back up to 4.5, 5. You may want to pull the trigger on the Bengals then. But Purdy is not playing good football right now the past 2 games. And, coming in limited, doesn't practice. I don't think Darnold's like a huge downgrade for them. I don't think he is. But he is a downgrade just because he hasn't played that much. Remember, he won the starting job over Lance. So definitely was a reason for that. Darnold's been in the league for quite some time now. 49ers, after that 5-0 start, best team in the NFL everyone was raving about. I still think they're a top 3, top 5 team. Don't get me wrong, they're just on a bad stretch here. They lost back-to-back road games against the Browns and the Vikings. Now, the Browns, they should have won that game. Missed field goal. A couple things happened in that game. Tough loss there. I was on the 49ers in that game just to win the game. Obviously got screwed with that 40-yard miss. Now, the second game here, the Vikings, I think the Vikings just played well in that game. Kirk Cousins and Primetime somehow played well. I do think that the Vikings did enough to, I don't think it was like a bad beat or there was no 49ers should have won that game. I think this Vikings played well. Vikings did enough. I do think Purdy lost them the game, though, right? If you ask me why did 49ers lose the game, 2 interceptions from Purdy. I don't think he played, and I don't think the 49ers defense played up to their standards as well, right? So, interesting, Justin Jefferson, they're 2-0 without him. 2-0 without Justin Jefferson. What does that say? It says maybe they try to rely on him too much in games. Now they show that they have multiple weapons that they can throw the ball too. The Bengals have turned it around, right? The Bengals, which I did expect after a slow start. I didn't expect this team to be terrible all year. I did expect them to take a downgrade though, right? Obviously Burrow off the injury, they started slow. I do think this team is limited though. I do think they're just mainly a passing team. I'm not in love with their run game. I don't think their defense is that great. I think it did take a step back after losing Jesse Bates, their best guy on defense. However, when you have Burrow at close to 100%, you have one of the best wide receivers in the league in Chase, you can just win games. And that's what they did the past few games, right? Look at Chase. Chase single-handedly beat Arizona with 15 catches, 192 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Best performance from a wide receiver all year. He went 6 for 80 versus Seattle. They did get lucky in that win, actually, against Seattle. I think Seattle should have won that game. A couple bad drives late from Seattle. But, yeah, I don't think Bengals are that great of a team. I do think they probably will still sneak in and get a wild card spot. It's going to obviously play into Burrow's health moving forward. Does he re-injure it, etc.? I do think he's coming off a bye, keep in mind. So I do think he's probably not 100%, but fairly close. Because the last 2 games he's looked fairly healthy, guys. So keep that in mind. So this is why I'm saying if you got this 5.5, I think you're very happy. Right? If you bet the Bengals early in the week, I think you're very happy. Now it's moving down 4. I would still take the Bengals. I think it's going to be a very close game. 3-point game, 6-point game, around that range. There's questions at QB, right? If Brock Purdy does play, he really didn't practice all week, right? He would have to practice today. Keep that in mind. Sam Darnold, I don't think he's terrible, but I think it's a downgrade. I think it's a downgrade, which does, help the Bengals cover this game. I could see the Bengals maybe stealing on the road. However, I think 49ers win a close one. I do think they win a close one. Watch the injury report. I think Trent Williams and I do think Deebo Samuel is very important for this team, especially Trent Williams, one of the best O-lines in the league. But definitely watch the injury report before you pull the trigger. Like I mentioned, if you took Bengals early in the week at +5.5, I think you're very happy with that. But again, wait if you like the Bengals. If you like the 49ers, you probably should bet them now. But Bengals look great, especially you could look at the Bengals in the teaser market. But if you're sitting with that 5.5, I do think it's good. Again, tough game. I would say it is a bit of a tough game to bet Bengals straight up on the money line, even though there is some value there, probably high plus 100s. 49ers after 2 losses in a row, you expect them at home to be welled up for this one, ready for this game, right? After 2 losses in a row. So keep that in mind. I'm not willing to play Bengals on the money line. It's not going to make my underdog play of the week, even though I do think they could win this game due to the QB issues right now around San Fran. But I think their defense does enough to win them the game. Bengals take the points. Monday Nighter. Let's quickly get into the Monday Nighter. Vegas at Detroit, -8. Total 46. The Lions return home, and they're happy to get home, right? After getting their butts kicked in Baltimore on the road, nobody's more excited than them to be home right now. Lions came down to earth last week, in my opinion. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're as good as they showed that 5-1 record. Remember, that 5-1 record, I mentioned last week, I gave out Ravens to you guys last week. I did like the Ravens to win the game, but this was the best team that they've played during that stretch. Don't count week 1. I don't count week 1, guys. Week 1, you don't know what's going to happen. They beat the Chiefs. Yes, I do think the Chiefs are number 1 or number 2 in the NFL right now, just ahead of Baltimore. But keep in mind it was week 1. Still a good win. I get it. They barely won the game. I think Chiefs lost the game. I don't think Lions went out and stole the game, even though they did play well enough to win the game. The rest of the stretch and the wins weren't that impressive, right? So keep that in mind. I think Lions are good. I think they're a fraud of a team saying that a lot of people were saying they're the best team in the league. That's not accurate, right? I think they're a good team. I think they're a wild card team. I do think they get into the playoffs, but not ready to make that big step yet. And I do think that there's a few reasons for it, right? One, I do think they're limited at pass rush besides Hutchinson. You can see it. They didn't get close to Lamar. Baltimore's O-line just dominated that defensive line. Sorry, that O-line. The defensive line. They dominated them. It was unbelievable, right? In the trenches, they got dominated. I don't think Detroit is as good on defense as they've shown at times. Seattle showed that on the when they beat them. Keep in mind, so I don't think their defense is there yet. I don't think it's there yet to be a championship team or a team to make a deep run in the playoffs. Even on offense, right? You see when they don't have David Montgomery, it's a big issue. It's a big loss because David Montgomery's a hard runner, good in the red zone. Gibbs is more, in my opinion, a third down style back, not a 3-down bruiser. He's a guy that's going to get you big plays, right? He's going to get you. He actually had a couple nice plays. He's going to get you a nice run, a nice dump off pass for 20 yards. But he's not, in my opinion, yet. He could turn into one. He's not a 3-down back, right? That's going to bruise and get you, 6 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards, 10 yards. David Montgomery is. He's proven he can do that. He's showed so far in this year, and I do think he's a big loss for them. I don't think he'll be back this week, so it's another loss for them there. The good news is they're playing Vegas. They don't need to be 100% to win this game. Jimmy G may be back. Watch the injury report. I do think it's a bit of an upgrade, but they're just not a good team, Vegas, right? A lot of issues over there. Coming off a blowout loss to the Bears, right? The Bears blew them out with a rookie QB. So Vegas is a team. Before that, though, they actually were playing decently, but just went over the Packers and went over the Pats. So we don't know how good they actually were playing or if it was their opponents. But I do think that Vegas is probably the toughest team to predict week to week that I have in my power rankings. I have Excel sheets of teams that I kind of stay away from. Vegas is usually one of them. However, I like the spot enough to back Detroit here. Definitely not on the 8. The -8 is very difficult for me to get to due to what I saw last week from Detroit. Vegas may have seen a lot on tape that they could exploit. So I'll be staying away from that 8. That's a high number. I probably would lean Vegas somehow to cover that 8 if I had to. But I do like Detroit in the teaser market just to win. You can get -1, right? I do think Detroit wins this game. it's a good spot to bounce back. I think they're well coached. I do like Campbell. I do think he's going to have this team ready for this game to bounce back on Monday night. I do think Detroit wins this game, but gun to my head, I'll take Vegas. Again, I don't bet Vegas for clients. It's just a team I stay away from, but 8's a lot. 8's a lot, so I would lean the points with Vegas. Underdogs segment, the most favorite segment for most of you, I'm sure. 10-1 start, guys, a ridiculous start. We know regression's going to come. We have regression the last 2 weeks. 10-3 on the year. And, this week there's not many options. I told you guys if you want to get a little creative and wild, look at the Bengals, but that's not going to be the underdog play of the week. I think there's 2 options here, in my opinion. Of course, another one probably will win that you just didn't see happening. But Steelers at home, it is possible with them playing well. They play well at home. They have a good defense. However, Jacksonville's hot right now, so I don't want to get in front of Jacksonville. We're going to go back and play a little risky here. It's not going to make my client card, but it's going to be the free play underdog of the week. It's going to be Carolina. We're going to bet Carolina, guys. And it's 2 reasons. One, obviously off a bye, 0-6. I expect this team to give it to them all. Give everything they can to win this game. I do think they show up at home to avoid going 0-7. I think there's some value there if you can get Carolina like plus 140. I already like them at plus 3.5. But again, Carolina is a team you don't want to always back. Like I mentioned, they're going to win 2 to 3 games this year. This is a good spot where they can win a game, in my opinion. So I do think Carolina could win this game. Is it going to make my client card? Probably not. If I can get a plus 3.5, that may make my client card. I do have to shop around. Teasers, up and down so far in the teaser market. Profitable for clients, though, in the teaser market. This week, 7-point teaser. I like the Lions. I already gave that out to you guys. I already talked about it. I like the Ravens in the teaser market. You can get them to win under a field goal. Shop around -1, 2. Chargers, too. I really like the Chargers to win this game at home on Sunday Night Football. Playing the Bears, backup quarterback. Rookie QB. Chargers coming off 2 bad losses. Chargers my favorite play of the week. They're actually my survivor play of the week in the big Circa tournament as well. It's a great spot for the Chargers. Even though they're not playing their best football right now, this is a spot and situational bet on the Chargers. That will do it, guys. That will do it. No UFC video this week, so it is a smaller week for me. Just 1 video. We'll be back next week with 2 videos. Hopefully you enjoy NFL Week 8. Like I always say, bet smart and know you're going to miss. Take care.